Hi everybody, Jamie the Board Game Man here. In today's episode, we're looking at a game from 2018 by Tyto Games. It plays 2 to 4 players, give or take around 30 minutes to play. It's called Azimuth, Ride the Winds. Now in this game what you're trying to do is you're trying to get off your deserted island, hop on your raft, and try to make it safely to your destination, which is your lighthouse. But other players can mess around with your wind, and so can you with them. So it's not going to be just a smooth sail to your home. Let's head on over to the gamer's table where I'm going to show you how to play Azimuth. All right, everybody, here we are at the gaming table. Here is Azimuth. Let me go ahead and show you the components of the game, and then I'll go ahead and show you the 2-player layout, show you how to play the game, and then I'll show you the variations for 3-player and 4-player. So you see it's a 2 to 4 player game. We have the board, which is the good old C. You have an island that in players 2 and 3, you actually use the island. In 4-player game, it is actually optional if you want to use it or not. You also have your good old castaways here, blue, red, yellow, and black. You also have these coconut tokens that are optional as well. You also have your lighthouses with the little island. Those are your finish lines. You also have your wind tokens that are corresponding to the colors of the castaways. And you also have these rafts. And obviously these correspond to the colors of the castaways as well. And that, my friends, are the components of Azimuth. Let me go ahead and get this ready for a 2-player game. Okay, here is the setup for the 2-player game. What you're going to do is you're going to place the island in the bottom of the island, or the sea, right in the middle. You're going to put your 2 castaways right on here, which I decided to go with blue and red. You're also going to have 6 rafts of each. So you're going to have 6 blue and 6 red rafts. What you're going to do is you're going to place them face down the way they are now. You're going to go ahead and shuffle them up, and then you're going to place them in this pattern. You're also going to place the blue lighthouse and the red lighthouse on the other side of the board. And what you're going to do is you're going to line these up with 2 of these little pluses, as you see here. Either one of these can make him go home. Okay, so you land on here, you can go from here to here, or go here to here. So you need 2 of these pluses in order to make it home. You also have 6 of these wind tokens, which we'll go over in just a few moments. And let's go ahead and show you how to play this game. So the object of the game is you're trying to get your castaway from this island to ride the rafts up until you make it to your lighthouse. The first player to make it to their lighthouse wins the game. Let me go ahead and show you how this works. So like I said, you're going to go ahead and take 6 rafts of each color that are in the play, and then you're going to shuffle them up and put them face down. Then you're going to go ahead and turn these over like so. Now all the rafts will be on the little pluses. As you can see, there's pluses and circles. All the pluses are where the rafts are going to go, where all the circles are where you're going to go ahead and put these wind tokens at, which we'll show you in just one moment. So after you go ahead and shuffle them up, you're going to go ahead and place them face up like this, and then the play begins. Now this is going to be phase 1. Phase 1 is this is when you're going to start placing your wind tokens on the board, and the wind determines which way the rafts go. All right. So let's say, for instance, blue goes first. Blue obviously would like to get a raft close enough to him in order to hop on it. So what he's going to do is he's going to go ahead and place a wind, let's just say right here. Now when you place a wind token, all of that color's rafts that are adjacent to that wind move forward. So let's just say, for instance, you go here. Okay. What happens is this will move forward 1, because this is the arrow. It's almost like an arrow. See the way it's pointy? This is going to kind of show you the way, which way it's going to go. This would go this way, okay? And then this one would stack on top of this red one. Now you want to stick it a little bit like this, because I'll go over that in a moment, why you want to kind of do that, because when you move other rafts, that will take place, and you'll have to see underneath what colors are underneath those rafts. So this would actually stack on top of that, and these 2 would move that way. Next will be the red's turn. Let's say the red will do the same thing. He's going to go ahead and place it this way, where he's going to go ahead and blow this raft this way and this raft this way. Okay. And that's pretty much how it works. You're going to lay down all of your wins. Okay, you're going to take turn placing these wins on the board, and then the rafts are going to move accordingly. Another move you can make is obviously you can go ahead and move one of your castaway right onto a raft. Okay, you can move the raft while the castaway is on it. Or if you have two rafts adjacent to each other, you can make him swim to the next one. Only if it's adjacent to it. You can do that. Okay. Now let's just say all the winds are out here. Let's just say we have one over here. We'll go ahead and place some winds out here. That way I can kind of show you how this works when it comes to maneuvering these rafts. Let's go ahead and place all these every which way. Let's go ahead and place these. That way we can kind of... Now as you can see, I'm placing all the winds on the circles. So you definitely want to make sure they're on the circles because the X's are where all the rafts go. So let's just say this is how this works right here. You guys have maneuvered all your winds, and this guy's going to go over here. Now, that's pretty much phase one, is you're laying down, you're moving the rafts, and you're laying down the winds. Now, once the winds are all placed on the board, this is when phase two comes into play. Phase two comes into play when you start moving the winds around. Now, you can either move your wind 90 degrees, okay, it's just like so. Or, I made a mistake there. These are supposed to go on the circles. Sorry, I had that on an X. See, you got to be careful what you're doing here. So what you do is say if this wind was facing this way because you were trying to bring this down, what you can do is you can take one wind and move it 90 degrees, like so. So in this case, when I move this one moved this raft over here. And like so. And that was the only one that's in that vicinity. Now let's just say I wanted to move this like this, then what would happen is this raft only would actually move like this on top of this one. That's how that would work. Unless the red, let's just say the red was over here, like so, okay, and say he wanted to move his raft this way, then this raft, since that was the bottom color, would move over here. Now that's one way to stop your opponent from trying to jump on the raft. Say this is a red one and I have a blue one here, I can actually get my blue one. Let's just say this red raft was here. Excuse me. I can either actually move this way, and this would block him from being able to jump on that raft because now it is a blue raft and he cannot jump on that raft. Now what you can do, let's just say a blue raft was here and he moved this here. Now what happens is, obviously you cannot put a raft on top of the castaway. That would look kind of stupid. So what you would do, if that's the case, if that happens, then this raft goes underneath that raft like so. So it would go like that, okay? So that's how that would work, because you might have your guy over here, you might want to need that raft later, so maybe when he moves this would actually move off like this, and then you get your raft. Okay, that's how that would work, okay? Now, like I said, if they're adjacent to each other, you can move your guy this way. Now, just say that you want to move this raft accordingly, like so, like maybe you want to go, let's see, because once you get all your winds, you can actually pick up a wind and move it as well. So you don't just have to turn it, you can actually pick it up and move it. Now the one thing you cannot do is do something like this where you have two winds facing each other of the same color. You cannot do that. Obviously it's a little conflict there, so you can't move, you cannot put two winds like this facing each other. You cannot do that, all right? So let's just say blue is trying to get over here. So what he wants to do is he could probably move this and move it this way. That way he can move his blue raft this way. This raft would move this way, like so. All those colored rafts that are in that vicinity. Then what we can do is with this one is he can go ahead and, oh, see that's, now I can't do it, I only can do 90 degrees. So what we do is he'd go like this, and he would move this way. Then what I could do is I could actually move, let's see here. So you don't want to go too far over there because his home place is over here. So you don't really want to go too far off the beaten path. So he can maybe move this up here, move this up here. Then he could probably move this like this, and then this would move like this would move like this. All right. And so this one would be adjacent to it also, so it would go this way. That way he could move this guy over here. Then he can move it like this on his next turn, move this raft this way, hop over here, then he can move this, see, and that's how you kind of work the way like this, and then you would actually push him, yeah, then he would make it home, because you'd have to make it to one of these two X's in order to win, and that's when he would make it home, and then he would win the game. So that's pretty much how that works. You're going to take turns maneuvering your winds, trying to get them 90 degrees at a time, or you can actually pick up a wind and move it to a different circle, and then you would move the raft accordingly. Okay, that's pretty much how you play the game. Now let me go ahead and get this set up for a 3-player game, and I'll show you how that works. Okay, now here is the 3-player setup, and you can see it's a little bit different. You'll have one on this side, one on this side, and one on this side. You still have the 2 pluses that allow you to go in. And this time you're going to have, in this case, you're still going to keep your 6 rafts each, so that you can see the black player has joined the party. So now you pretty much have 18 rafts with 6 of each color on the board. Now you're only going to have 4 winds of each color, so you're going to have 4 of each. And you're also going to have coconuts. In this case, you're going to have 4 coconuts. Now the coconuts are optional, so it is up to you whether you want to use them. In this game, you're going to do the same thing, where you start to place your winds on the board and so on, where you place the winds on the circles and so on, and then you're going to switch them. That's pretty much the same game. You're going to flip all these over. For this game, and you see the layout is much different when it comes to a 3-player game. So you're going to turn all these over like so. Okay, there's all your rafts for this game. The only difference in this game, obviously, you have lighthouses on either side. The farthest down the lighthouse can go is the halfway mark. You cannot go beyond that halfway mark. And what you're trying to do in this game is you're doing, like I said, doing the same exact thing with your winds. You're going to place all your winds, move your rafts around, try to get to your according lighthouse. What the coconuts do in this game, if you so choose to use them, you can manipulate an opponent's wind. Now, in the normal game, you can't do that. Obviously, you're just manipulating your own winds, and you can bring your own drafts onto somebody else's rafts and move them around. But this case, you use a coconut, and you can actually mess around with somebody else's. So say we got a couple winds out here like so. Let's say we do something like this. And the one player, the black player, is trying to get on their raft. And let's just say, we got this raft here. The blue player wants to, let's just say the black player goes like this, to try to move his raft closer to him, like so, okay? And maybe with the red player, maybe the red player has a thing here. What he could do is when he brings this over here, the red player could possibly do this and move this on top of that raft to keep him from going in there. So, and what the black player can do in that case is that you can actually manipulate that red and use a coconut. You say, I'm going to use a coconut here, and actually manipulate that red raft go this way, so that way that raft goes off of his raft, and then he can jump on his raft and then go so on like this. You could turn it like this, and then this black raft would go on top of that red raft, and so on. So that's what the coconuts do in this game, is they actually allow you to manipulate an opponent's wind, obviously up to 4 times in the game. So that's pretty much the only difference. Is you got a few more rafts to deal with. There's a lot more moving around. Obviously, there's going to be a lot more stacking of rafts. And like I said, it's always the lowest color of that raft that you would move. So say you had like say it went like red, black, blue, or something like that. Let's just say they're stacked. Like you can get up to 5, 6 rafts on here. And say the black moves it, obviously it would be the low. It would be the highest color here. So it would be this black here from here would move this way, and so on. That's how that would work. Okay. And that's pretty much the 3-player game. Now let's go ahead and set this up for a 4-player game. Okay, and here is the 4-player setup. Now what you're going to do is each player is going to have 4 rafts, and they're also going to have the 4 coconuts if you decide to play with these, and 4 wind tokens. And you'll see that they're going to try to get across the board. So you can see this red castaway is trying to get over to this red one. This blue is trying to get to blue. Yellow is trying to get to yellow. Black's trying to get to black. We're all going to start on a raft, okay, plus the 4 that are in here that start off upside down. Now the island in the middle is optional. That's something that you don't have to play with. You just take that out and you're good to go. But if you want to, you can go ahead and add that on. So if a castaway does make it here, this castaway can actually go, make one move, and then the next play, he can go on to another raft like so, if it's his raft. Okay, so that is optional, that middle island, if you want to do that. Obviously, you do the same thing here. You go ahead and flip over all the rafts. And then play would be exactly the same like you did with the 2 and 3 player. The first phase, each player would start placing their wind out there and whatnot. The only difference in the 4 player. Now, I remember in the 2 and 3 player, they had 2 different pluses to try to get to the home. In a 4 player, they actually have 3. So if you were to place this here, they can land on either this, or this to win the game to make it home. Where the other 2 or 3, you just had the 2 that they could land on. But in a 4-player game, they have 3 to go because it's a lot more busier out here. It's going to be a lot more harder because rafts are being stacked and you're getting thrown left and right. And so they actually allow 3 of these pluses to become kind of like your home base to make it home. And that's pretty much it. So that's pretty much how you play the game. You're trying to go from raft to raft, oops, I missed one here. Sorry about that. Just trying to get to your lighthouse, and the first player to make it to their home, their little island, whatever you want to call it there, to their lighthouse, wins the game. And now let's head on over to the game room, and I'll tell you my final thoughts. All right, so my final thoughts on Azimuth, Ride the Winds. What a cool little abstract game. It is a very cool little abstract game, indeed. I do like that you can actually, you put the winds on there, you move your rafts, you actually can stack the rafts. I like that you can actually, turn the wind 90 degrees where you're trying to maneuver your guy up there. But then you got the coconuts, which are involved in, I believe, the 3 and 4 player game, where you actually can manipulate your opponent's wind. And that will really knock them off balance when you're almost there, and all of a sudden, oh, you're veering off to the right, you're veering off to the left, and you can't quite get to your lighthouse. That's pretty cool. That's a fun, it seems like, oh, it's just a simple game. You just hop on a raft and make it home. No, there's a lot of wind going on there, going back and forth and left and right and front and back and everything else. And I like that, even if there's no raft in one area, you can actually go diagonally, go totally across and move it that way. So that's pretty cool. I like that option. I love the meeples. I love the little hats. Those are pretty cool as well. So, and the components themselves are really good. I mean, the tokens are really thick. I mean, they're not like, you're going to bend them if you just barely look at them. I mean, it's a good solid, and the lighthouses look pretty cool with the little island that you set on them. Really well done little game. So I definitely give it a thumbs up. Let's go ahead and give it a thumbs up right now. Here you go. If you have the game and you've played it, let me know what you thought about it if you've never heard of the game. And of course, if you're thinking about getting it or maybe kind of looking into it, that'd be great to hear too. All right, well, thanks so much for watching this episode. And until next time, everybody, happy gaming.